read the disclaimer. Hi, I'm Fable,
I'm Mauve.
and today we're making our Ratchet tier list. This one's going to be a lot quicker than the Blade tier list. There are many fewer Ratchets to start with.
Yeah.
And they're just a little bit less intriguing to talk about, I think.
Yeah, this will be a bit shorter because the Ratchets don't matter as much in battle. You have a lot more leniency to pick one over the other.
Yeah.
Or pick a slightly higher height over a lower height.
Just for min-maxing for purposes.
Yeah.
Usually when people ask me like what Ratchets to use, I usually end up giving more than one Ratchet suggestion per build, just because there's different reasons to use different Ratchets for different min-maxing, right? Like 360, for example, for min-maxing stamina over burst resistance compared to 960, and then you have 760, which is just heavy, and that's all.
Yep. You can get away with a lot more in the Ratchet department than you can in the Blade or the Fish department.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get underway. We'll start off with the first and easy one. We haven't tested 385 yet, so we don't have a real opinion on that.
Yep.
It's just so uninteresting to us compared to some of the other parts that we just haven't kind of forgotten about it and haven't tested it yet.
We're going to test it later, but it's so tall that it's not quite on our radar.
Yeah.
So no opinion.
And just a reminder, these are ordered lists. Ones on the left are more powerful than ones on the right, and then going up the thing, in our opinions. Again, these are nothing. This is all opinions. None of this is set in stone. Just because we say it's good doesn't mean that we're right.
Yeah.
That being said, we're going to start with the worst Ratchet in the game. It's 280. Followed closely by 270, and followed closely there by 260.
Why is 2 so bad?
Why is 2 so bad? Look at the lumps.
Yeah.
You see this lump?
That's why.
This lump go crunch and it die. It burst.
If you can see it from the side profile, those lugs on the side of it
Hang down.
Yeah, they hang down quite a bit.
Yeah, so they also catch on the X-line really weird on the lower height ones.
Yep.
And you get weird movement. Go ahead.
Yeah. You have the risk of being burst by your opponent, and you have the risk of hitting the X-line and bursting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just super unreliable. They don't really offer anything.
Yeah, they don't offer a big advantage. It's not like, I don't know, it's not burst resistance or like weight or anything like that.
No. Yeah, they're not very heavy. They are horrible burst resistance by virtue of their shape. And they don't really do anything for the build. So in F tier they go.
Mm-hmm.
There is only one other F tier Ratchet though, in our opinion. And that's 480. Hello. There we go.
480, which I think is not nearly as bad as the 2s.
No, it's like the 2s almost could go into their own tier.
Yeah.
But
The top of F is 4.
The top of F is 480.
So 480 has sort of the same issue. It's a little bursty.
Yep.
It's kind of tall.
The only thing it really offers is balance. They are relatively balanced Ratchets, all things considered.
Yeah.
But I do think there's just no reason to run it, really.
I think 4 is fine, but 3 is just a little bit better, and then 60 is a little bit better than 80. So it's just like all of these factors stacking up to put 480 into F tier.
Yeah, exactly. Not really much to be said about the F tier. Don't use these Ratchets. They're either going to actively work against you or not really be useful.
You could have picked something better. That's all it is. In F tier, you could have picked something better.
Yeah, 100%. That being said, I'm going to move on to the D tier. Very first one in the D tier here is 470. Basically for the same reasons that 380 is in F tier. This belongs at the bottom of D tier. It's a 4-sided Ratchet. It's a little bit shorter, so it doesn't have as bad of a burst issue. And there are some things that like the balance of 4, but again, you could have picked something better.
Yeah. The 4 Ratchets have been around since the start of Beyblade X.
Yeah.
And honestly, their only issue was that they were a bit bursty. So
Right.
as you get shorter and shorter, the Ratchet gets lower and you have less chance of being burst by your opponent.
Right, exactly.
So up a notch it goes.
Up a notch it goes indeed. The next one here we have is another 80 height Ratchet. We have 380.
Cool.
Yeah, it's an 80 height Ratchet.
3 is one of our most common bits.
Yes.
Or Ratchets. Sorry.
It is. It's very common. 380 specifically is in D tier. Below a couple of other 80s here, which is a little interesting, but we'll talk about those when we get there. It's just, again, it's bursty, doesn't really offer anything.
Again, it's the height.
Yep, it's the height. You don't really want to be using 80 at the moment. There's no real reason to.
No, until we find something that's like a super tall build that does something special.
Yeah,
But we haven't found that yet.
exactly. And the final entry in D tier here.
Let's go 4.
Let's go 460. Woo!
Woo!
There's a couple of blades that can get away with running 4. Couple Dragoon, Shark Edge.
Yeah.
But neither of them to run it.
Right. I was using 460 quite a lot at the very early stages of Beyblade X because it was an adequate Beyblade and it was low. I really liked having everything on 60 height
Yeah,
rather than 80 height when that was all that was available.
right.
So 480 was fine.
Or 460.
Sorry, 460 was fine. 480 was like, nah, I've got a 60 height right over there. I'm just gonna pick that one.
I'm just going to pick that one instead, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's just like, there's no real reason to take it.
Yeah. This was like my, I need one more ratchet.
Yeah. D tier is kind of that. It's like if you have 2 of the ratchets that are above it, but you don't have a third one for whatever reason,
Yeah.
you can take one of these. You're going to be sad about it, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, if you're building a 3-on-3 deck, don't feel too bad about taking one of the D tier. Just fill in your deck.
Yeah, if you don't have the parts, you don't have the parts. So you make do with what you have, you know?
Mhm.
But onward to the next tier here. C tier. This one's an interesting tier. It starts out with 180. Why 180 above 380?
180 over 380.
Why? Because it has its uses. C tier is where we put niche things.
Yeah.
Things that have very specific builds that do very powerful things, but aren't generically powerful. There's a couple of things that work really well on 180. Tyranno Beat, I think, is one of them. And I think there's a Wizard Rod build. I don't remember exactly what it was that was running around on 180 for a while. That was being a menace.
One is an interesting ratchet. Sometimes you can use it for balancing your blades if they're particularly off balance, and if you can align the heavy side with your imbalance.
Yes.
Sometimes that imbalance is perpendicular to it, and you just don't get to do anything with one.
Right, which is unfortunate, but
in some cases, you can make your Beyblade better balanced with a 1 build.
or even more unbalanced, which attack types like. That's why they like 160, but we'll get there when we get there.
I'm not a huge believer in using it for smacking attack.
I'm not either. I'm not. I do understand that people use it and it does see actual like results, but
Yeah.
it's just never been appealing to me.
Personally, I think if I want a heavy attacker, I'm going to put all of my effort into the blade rather than trying to micro-tune it with a couple grams of plastic on the ratchet.
Right, 100%.
The other cool thing that one does is climb out of the pocket.
Yes, very defensively powerful.
That's the funniest thing.
180 can do it as well as 160, and they just, because of the shape, it bounces off the pocket walls, climbs right back out, and then you get a spin finish instead of a KO, and you save a point.
Yeah, and that even works on really smooth blades.
Yep, on Wizard Rod and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a really aggressive blade, and it will climb out of the pocket. You know, a strong attack type like Shark. Or
Buster or Shark.
Buster is a really good
Yeah,
one.
Buster likes to climb. Oh, turns out it's came with 1. Same
Yeah.
shape. Weird.
Yeah, but you can use those guys independently.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, only 2 entries in C tier here. The other one here is 580. The other usable 80 height, in my opinion.
So 580 is one of the heavier ratchets.
Yes, it is one of the heavier ratchets. I think it is the heaviest. 770 might be heavier.
Yeah, I think 770 is like on par or a smidge heavier.
Yeah. So it has its merits just on being heavy.
Yep.
And it's 5. 5 has always been good. It's got decent balance, good stamina. I really wouldn't run it on that much, but if you have to run it, you have to run it, and I wouldn't be sad about it.
Yeah. It's 5 is good, 80 height is all right. Really, the biggest issue is burst resistance. So
Yeah.
maybe put it onto a high resistance bit.
Yeah, something like Hexa or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, using it on an attack type is all right.
Attack type? Well, Hexa's not an attack type.
Oh, well, sorry, not Hexa.
Yeah.
But
With a high resistance bit.
yeah. Sorry, that's what I think of with the high resistance bits.
Because most of them are attack types.
Yep.
Yeah, that's C tier.
That's it for C tier.
Not much here, just the rest of the 80s. I think this is basically the highest tier that 80 height can go at the moment. There just isn't anything that's being offered at 80 height other than being burst more often.
Yeah, right now being low is an advantage, so the lower the better.
Yeah.
On to B.
On to B.
B for better.
B for better. The very first entry for B tier here, we have 760. It's a little low. Some people would consider this a little bit higher. But it is the heaviest 60 ratchet. It's very round, but it does have a couple of problems. It scrapes a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a low skirt on it.
Yeah, so it does scrape, and then it's got this little nub here at the bottom. Can't really see it in this picture. That does make bursting an issue. Even all of these little notches here, it does seem to burst a little bit more. Though we really haven't been having issues with it bursting recently.
It's all right. It might be luck. Personally, I put 5 and 7 kind of in the same department. Both are slight burst risk because they're so grippy, textured.
Because they have all these lumps, right? And they're big.
Yeah.
They're kind of like towards the outside of the blade. So if the blade doesn't protect the contacts well, they're they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I do understand that.
Yeah.
But I think it's very usable. It's heavy. It's good. It's round. It's usable on attack. It's usable on stamina. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Just gotta be worried the scrape resistance.
That blade exposure is something to note. Certain blades, they'll cover more of the ratchet, or they'll extend down far enough that it protects the ratchet a little bit.
Yeah.
Other blades that are really thin can expose the ratchet to attacks.
Like Wyvern Gale or Gelkong, for example. They are gigantically tall and like off the ratchet. They just have a massive gap.
Or like Viper Tail.
Like Viper Tail, yeah. Another one. Talonterra.
That can make your ratchet more vulnerable to attacks.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one here. We have 370.
Yay, it's 3.
It's 3. 70 is good. I like 70 height. 3 is good. It's good.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
3 made a big jump.
Yes. I think it's 80, holding 380 back more than anything.
Right.
And then like 580 and 180 have their niches, so they were just a little bit better than 380 because there was just no reason to take 380.
Right. Yeah, you know what? 380 is in the D department because 370 and 360 exist.
Right, exactly. And if you want to be a little bit taller for like Phoenix Wing or Tyranno Beat, you're just going to throw it on 370 or 970 ideally. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a pretty good ratchet. This is like, if you don't know what to put on your Beyblade, you can put 370 on there and it'll be A-okay.
Yep, it'll be just fine.
Yep.
Dandy. But I wouldn't be like stoked about it, but I wouldn't be sad in the least.
Right.
And finally topping off, oh no, I forgot there was one more 80 ratchet. Topping off B tier, it's 980. Whoa.
Now I'm stoked.
980 is nice. 980 makes up for the burst risk of being tall by being a 9 ratchet.
Right. The 9 ratchets are kind of smooth. If you look at the picture, you can see it has a lot of texture on it, but those are very small lumps.
Yeah, and they don't get hit very often, and they're very close, like they're very small and inward. So even some of the blades that have that gap that we were talking about earlier still don't have the burst risk because of how small the ratchet is and hard to hit it is.
Right.
So it just propels 980 to the top, because I think this is like, if you insist on running 80, you're running a 980.
Yeah. What's the one disadvantage of 9? Weight?
Weight, yeah, it's one of the lightest. The only thing lighter than 9 is 1.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I would fault 9 for.
I guess 385 is lighter, but 385 is special.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you could fault 9 for being kind of light. So I guess build your Beyblade around that.
Yeah. But then again, you're here for 80. You're not here for 9, I think, in that case, for 980 specifically. You're here for the height advantage.
Okay. For
whatever reason that is, whether it be standing on top of somebody and smashing them down, or having that little bit of extra stamina that being tall gives you.
Oh, right. Yep, that's a good point.
Yeah. That's it for B tier. Very small tier. Most of these tiers are small, except for the next one.
There aren't a whole lot of ratchets, so this one is going a lot quicker.
Yes, it is. All of these ratchets here, I would be absolutely happy to run any of them on pretty much any build. 760 goes on attack types for the most part. 370 probably goes on attack or on balance types, and then 980 is probably on your stamina types for B tier.
B tier and up, I get really excited about. I don't feel like I'm compromising once we get to B tier.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. That being said, let's talk about A tier. These guys are...
We can keep squeaking more performance out of this.
Yeah. We get, starting off with 570. Another heavy ratchet. second heaviest 70 ratchet next to 770.
Yep.
Same plus sides as 5, basically. So
Yeah, it's
there's more things that want to be at 70 height than 80 height.
right. This is your high weight smacker ratchet.
Yep.
Here the weight difference between some of the other ratchets is actually making a little bit of a difference.
Yes.
And you could put this on an attack type, or I'd say anything that doesn't lean over too far.
Right.
Not something that wants to lean a whole lot.
I wouldn't put it on a ball build, but
Right.
I could put it on a level build. I could see it on an elevate build. I know some people like 570 elevate on Cobalt Dragoon.
Yep.
I know some people were running 570 on Wizard Rod for a long time, though I think that's fallen off. I think 360 and 960 are almost exclusively what you see on Wizard Rod nowadays. Maybe 160.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. You could put it on Wizard Rod, but I think Wizard Rod benefits from having a little less burst risk.
Yeah.
Because the real way to counter Wizard Rod right now is either the left spin or attacking the crap out of it, going straight for the throat. That
Yeah.
ratchet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like 570. I would be happy to run it.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Next up, we have 160. This is a little bit contentious for us. We don't like it. We don't
I'm
like
not a
160.
big fan of one in general.
Yeah, it adds a lot of inconsistency, I think. Because if you tilt too much, you start bouncing bad. Sometimes, even if you're tilting not all that much, you hit it weird on the X line and you burst yourself. I've seen it burst itself on the X line, not like taking the line and hitting the other Beyblade.
Bumping
I mean,
into
like
it.
spinning and touching the X line and coming apart.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't like this build. But I mean, I also have seen it add the spec that people say that it adds, and balance tune wizard rods that were otherwise not really usable.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, I think it's good. I think this is one of those ones that you want to have in your collection just in case the need for it arises.
Yeah. I've seen this ratchet used everywhere, from like Wizard Rod on Rush with 160.
Yeah.
You can see it on Buster still.
Yeah. I don't like it on Buster at all. But...
No. You can see it on various attack types where people just want to have slightly more weight on one side of it.
Phoenix Wing, Shark, all of those guys. Whale Wave I've seen. I don't like it on Whale. I really don't like it on Whale Wave.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for that.
But
yeah, especially if this works to balance tune your blade, do it.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Alrighty. On to the next one. We have 770. It's heavy. It's round. It's 70 height. It's good.
Yeah. It's so in B tier we had 780.
760.
Oh, sorry, 760.
Yeah.
So we're gaining levels.
Because it doesn't scrape as much
Aha.
on 70.
Okay.
So you get a little bit more tilt out of it. You get a little bit more endgame out of it.
I think this is the only situation where I would go for the higher ratchet.
Yes.
Is to avoid the scraping when you're leaning over.
I think so too.
I'm still-
Maybe 970 when I'm specifically working with certain builds, but like
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
certain blades. But
Yeah.
that's build specific.
So this one is tuning it so that you don't scrape the bottom as much. I'm still not a huge fan of 7, but I see it.
Yeah. And it's the heaviest ratchet we have. 770 is hands down the heaviest.
You could totally debate between like 7 and 5. Like, oh, I like 5 more because you can lean more or something.
Right, exactly.
Really
But
close.
both of them are scrape heavy, but yeah, they are really close. Speaking of being really close, hey, wow, it's 560.
Whoa.
Whoa! It's
My preferred 5?
yeah, it's the heaviest 60 ratchet outside of 760. It's got less scrape than 7, but a little bit more burst risk in my opinion. Has good stamina. I put it above 760 and above 770 just maybe because it's familiar. 760 and 770 are a little new.
Honestly, yeah. 5 goes this high because it's familiar, so we know what it's used for. We know when it's advantageous.
Yeah.
And that's when you want more weight and more hit.
Yes. That I agree with that. And even more stamina. I think the 570 does add like good raw stamina. It doesn't add good endgame stamina. Once you fall over, you're scraping, you're dead. But if you're on a stand-up bit, like level or elevate or anything like that, I think it's good. I think it's got really good raw stamina.
Yeah.
So that's why it goes here.
Nice all-rounder here.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the heavier attacky side.
Yeah. And the final entry for A tier, it's 970.
Let's go 9.
Let's go 9. It's so good. 9, again, it's low burst risk. It's the 70 height. I think it's the best 70 height ratchet we can use at the moment.
Also, this color is so cool.
Oh yeah, the pink and black. Oh, it's so good. A magenta.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
I don't know why I like the looks of this so much. Maybe because it's just like black.
Because
and
it goes with Tyranno Beat really nice.
It does. It goes with all of those red blades really nicely.
And all of the red blades want to use it. So
yeah.
Yeah, Phoenix wants to use it. Tyranno Beat really wants to use it. It lives on our. We never take it off Tyranno Beat. It lives on Tyranno Beat.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good. It's light. That's its downside, but.
That's the main downside. But on the other hand, you can lean quite heavily.
Yes.
And it won't scrape the bottom of the stadium.
Which is really nice, especially for certain blades like Tyranno Beat and stuff that want to hit with their bottom side contacts.
Yeah, especially if you want to do like Tyranno Beat 9 taper.
Yeah.
Or some other bit that leans heavily on launch.
Yeah.
The other situation where you could use it is like Wizard Rod 9 ball.
Yep.
Something that leans heavily at the end game.
So you can get that scamming roll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it allows you to roll on the ground a little bit better than lumpier ratchets.
Yep. That's A tier.
Good ratchet.
All of these ratchets are good.
Yep.
The only one that's situational here, I think, is 160. The other ones, I think you could just throw on pretty much anything and be fine.
Yep. I think 7 might be a little situational because you don't want to put it on high lean builds.
This is true. But it's less situational than 160.
That's fair.
Otherwise, I'd be very happy with any of these ratchets on pretty much any one of my builds. Of course, again, ratchets are the min-max. They are the glue that holds the build together. They are not the build.
Yep.
They are quite literally the glue that holds the builds together. Alrighty. Time to get into the S tiers, I think.
Ratchets feel like tuning my suspension.
Yes.
There's a whole car around it, but sometimes, I don't know, you need to handle on the corners a little bit better. Or you need more suspension to handle the bumps.
Right.
Whatever.
Exactly. Alright, on to S tier. First entry. Second to last ratchet here. It's 360.
Let's go 3.
Let's go 3. 360 is just it. You can literally put it on any build. I cannot think of a single build that I would be unhappy with 360 on it.
Yeah, like there's nothing bad to say about 360.
There's nothing bad to say about 360.
I'm trying to think of, what do you use 3 for? Everything. What's bad about 3? Nothing?
Nothing.
It's average, but it's like the best average we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's only an S because it is the king of balance. You can put it on anything and you can just it's just good.
Yeah.
It's just good. And the only thing that's better than it is 960.
It's 9.
The reason 960 is better is because it's 9. Because you can't burst it, basically. It's almost unburstable from ratchet bursting. Unless you're really lucky or really unlucky.
And once again, you can lean really heavily with 9.
Yes.
So we've got, like, probably my favorite ratchet in the lowest configuration.
Which low is good. You want to be low always in Beyblade. That's just how it's been since Bakuten Shoot.
Yep.
Plastic generation. The lower you are, the more resilient you are to being scooped. The more you can scoop. It's just better to be low because then you can't be destabilized either.
Yep. There are some real meme builds in previous generations where you could be tall.
Yeah, but
those were exceptions, not the rule.
Right. Like, the one that comes to mind is Flame 230. Like, the reason Flame 230 is good is because Flame 230 is completely smooth and so tall that you completely negate any possible metal-on-metal contact with anything running the standard low ratchets.
Flame 230 is a metal fight build.
Yes, it's a metal fight build specifically, yeah. Flame 230 CS, I believe, is the usual build for it. CS being Coat Spike. Very good build. Very good.
Coat Spike.
Yeah, very good. I want it so bad. Unite from Burst, if you remember that one. Same concept.
Okay.
And yeah, that only works because it avoids metal-on-metal contact. 385 is almost there, but 385 is strange. We gotta look at that more.
Yeah, we're gonna test 385 later.
Yeah.
And maybe its burst resistance will make up for its massive height.
But anyway,
Find out.
point being, you want to be small. You want to be short.
You don't want to be small.
And 960, I think, is just the hands down the best ratchet in the game.
Yeah. You can put this on a whole lot of things. We put it on Phoenix Wing.
I wouldn't
Wizard
call
Rod.
it as versatile as 360, but I would consider it stronger when the places that it's good.
Okay. Like 3 is a little more balancy.
Yeah, 3 is a little bit more like you can literally put this anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas 9 is like, yeah, you can put it anywhere, but there are some things that would really benefit from something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. There are a couple blade combos where you want the extra weight.
Yeah.
Or you need some special ability.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 160 for example, or just having 760 so you're heavier, or
Yeah.
or 560 because you need your 960 elsewhere, right? Like,
Yep. Look at 9 being the king of the tiers.
yes, I love this. It's a king of S, king of A, king of B.
Yeah.
And then there's no more 9s to go here.
And this is generally how I feel about the height of the ratchets as well.
Yes, I also agree. 60 is S tier, 70 is A tier, and C is B tier. 80 is B tier, excuse me. I don't really know what else to say. We've kind of set our pieces on what we think about ratchets are and why they exist and what they do for builds.
Yeah, and I would say B tier and up is all good. Be
Yep.
happy with all these ratchets.
Just like in Blade tier, anything from B and up, I'm completely content with putting on just about any build.
Mm-hmm.
Things down here, I start questioning my existence and why I'm doing
Yep.
it.
Yeah, and this is min-maxing the build.
Yes,
It matters in some situations, but it usually doesn't matter as much as the blade and the bit.
correct. 100%. I agree. Alrighty. I think we're done yapping.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye! Ratchet tears! Whee!